What's up, everybody? It's Kevin here from Happy Beard Games, and today is a Friday, a Famicom Friday, where I check out a Japanese region video game every week on a Friday. For today's Famicom Friday, we are checking out a game that, you know, in my past videos, we do some translating. We use Google Translate or other means, and, you know, it's nice to have that ability to translate automatically with Google. It's also nice to have, on the other hand, games that you do not have to translate at all to enjoy. And that's one of the best things about, you know, import games, Japanese games, not just exclusively from Japan, but games in languages that you don't know from other regions. So if you're playing games that are either not available in your region, or they cost too much in your region, or you just prefer to import them for some reason like I do, this is a game for you. And this is one of the best racing games on the Sega Saturn. On a lot of top 10 lists, this is up there with like 2 or 1 or 3. It's one of the best games for racing games on the Sega Saturn console. But for now, we're jumping into Sega Rally for the Sega Saturn. This is the Japanese version of the game. We'll have some close-ups of the case and stuff. For the game, it's straightforward. It's mostly in English. Even the audio, like voice clips, are in English too. There was nothing much in the way of like distracting me or confusing me because it was another language that I don't understand. So it's very straightforward. Pick up and play. Easy to understand. You don't need to translate it really at all. So yeah, it's really cool. A fun fact about the game Sega Rally Championship for the Sega Saturn is that it was the first game with the Sega Sports logo on the label. Sega Sports is a thing that would continue on, I believe, all the way even past the Dreamcast. I think Sega Sports existed on like the Xbox and stuff like that too. So yeah, so we are playing Sega Rally.
Famicom Friday.
Famicom Friday.
Sega Rally の興奮
脳天直撃セガサターン
超過激 3D レーシングゲームセガラリーチャンピオンシップ Sega.
Now you may have noticed, this bad boy, we're playing the game a little bit differently today, not using the Sega Saturn controller, or any other Sega controllers really. This is the Hori Mario Kart Pro Wheel controller for Nintendo Switch. It also works on PC just by default. It's made for Nintendo Switch and PC. This is the Pro version. There's a lesser version of it that comes with less stuff. It has pedals on the ground, which I'll show you some video of too. It has a brake and a accelerate pedals on the bottom underneath the table for my feet. And this is connected to the Brook Wingman SD adapter, which is SD is Saturn and Dreamcast.
Sega Rally Championship.
All right, Sega Rally Championship. That's what the man said. Let's jump in. This is a game from 1995. So that's pretty early, 1995. It might have came out in 96. There's 94, 95 in the case. So yeah, I guess this is a 95 game. Think about 1995. What were you playing in 1995? I know I was playing Super Nintendo and Game Boy. So this is pretty advanced. This is might have been even before the PlayStation 1. Or around that time at least. And I didn't see very many 3D games until like around 96, 97, I believe. It's pretty advanced for its time. May not look like much here. So you've got the arcade mode, time attack mode. If you go to time attack mode, you can do a free race without any time. So keep that in mind too. We might do that in a little bit. Maybe not, but you've got your records, you've got options, which I've already set up, and car settings. Now car settings, just real quick, you can make your car, you can choose one of 2 cars, just like in arcade mode. There's only 2 cars in this game as far as I know. There might be unlockables. So basically you can customize your car settings and have them saved to like a little profile, which is pretty cool too. Automatic or manual transition. You can have handling be slow or quick. And then tires, and then all this stuff. Suspension, rear suspension. The blow-off valve, which I'm not really sure what that does. I'm not sure what these do. Or I know what these do, kind of, but because it tells you, but I don't really know what the blow-off valve really does to your car in this game. Let's go to arcade mode and try out some of the levels. We've got practice. See, there is a little bit of Japanese text. but it's also very straightforward in English with the big text. Let's go to practice first, and then we'll do championship. So you can choose, once again, this car or that car, and automatic or manual transmission. So we're going to choose that. I love it's on with the start button, by the way. You got desert, forest, and mountain are the levels. Let's start out easy course, which is the desert. Now, I have to keep in mind, and I'm going to remind myself and let you know too, just barely turn the wheel, which kind of sucks, but otherwise you'll go flying off, and I might go flying off. It starts you out in first person too. So I did a little bit better in first person than I did third person perspective, but I can change it, so I might change it a little bit. It's going to be harder than with the controller for me, at least, because of this wheel. And I know that's like, okay, why are you playing with it? I just wanted to see if it would work on the Saturn, and it does. And you can see I'm barely turning it, but if I do it too much, it'll get kind of crazy like that. Even if I do it like not even that much, it'll get kind of crazy. Any help for the wheel controller on the Saturn, the specific one, the Hori Mario Kart wheel, would be very much appreciated. I'm pretty much like hugging the walls here. Barely turning it too. Whoa, that was a weird bump. See, that's why I'm doing practice, because I want to make sure how well it works. I don't think I'm even going to be able to win a race with this. I might. Almost into the first lap right here. But there's time, and there's another racer against us. You like checkpoint time, stuff like that. See, it's like you barely turn it and you start flying off. And I adjusted the sensitivity a lot on this. Like I toggled a lot of different things. Now we're going to restart the race and play it in third-person mode. This controller is extremely sensitive for this game, which kind of makes me not want to use it, but I do want to use a wheel controller in this game. So if you have any advice, or like tips and tricks, or whatever, any kind of advice at all on how to get this controller to work a little bit better with this game specifically on the Sega Saturn. I don't know many people have done it this way, but that would be greatly appreciated. But it's just so sensitive that you can barely turn it. I have it on thumbstick mode too, but yeah, it's just extremely sensitive. If I even like move it slightly, more than slightly, it'll reset. So I have to go like that to flip it over, which is weird too. Yeah. This is partially a Famicom Friday. It's partially how to get this controller to work with the Sega Saturn, which is cool that it works at all, but it doesn't work very well. I've kind of learned a little bit of things, like kind of get yourself out of a jam like that. But otherwise, you're going to want to press it very slightly, if anything at all. It's weird because it's like, it shouldn't be that hard to control. And I've adjusted the sensitivity a lot on this controller. I've gone through all the different phases and stuff, and settings, and this was the closest I get to actually playing it. All the other settings I tried, it was unplayable completely. Come on, can we make it? Can we make it? Can we make it? Oh, we made it, boys! Ooh, yeah, baby! I don't know how we did that. Game over, yeah. I love that. I love the game over sound effect in this. It's iconic, it's a meme, it's funny, sounds cool. And even though you're getting game over, it feels great, because it's like, game over, yeah. It's like, why is there a yeah there? You would think it would just be game over. So we're going to check out this game with the actual Sega Saturn controller. Sadly, I don't have the 3D controller with the thumbstick, but I do have the D-pad controller for Sega Saturn. So we're going to go do that right now. Alright, so that's kind of a bummer that this controller doesn't work very well currently with the Sega Saturn or the game Sega Rally. I'm assuming it would be sensitive on other games too. But luckily, we do have the Sega Saturn controller, so we're going to do some arcade mode for you with my better controls on the Sega Saturn controller. Let's go to arcade mode. And we're gonna do a championship cup for ya. Alright, here we go. I don't know how to change the camera though. Oh, it's X. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, this is much better. Oh my gosh. Still gonna go a little easy on the steering because I'm like, now I know how sensitive it could possibly be. But it's not like, it shouldn't be this bad on the steering wheel. Like, something's wrong there. I know it's not a steering wheel for the Saturn, and I believe there actually is one for the Saturn, at least one, an actual Saturn steering wheel controller, but yeah, so this is a lot better if you have the controller. But you can try it with your Mario Kart controller and see how it works for you. It didn't work for me very well at all, but yeah, so I don't know, it's weird. I feel like it might work if there's an update to that Brook Wingman adapter for the Sega Saturn. Maybe that'll help it work better with some wheels. I'm not sure. It could be the controller itself just not working right with this game. It's too sensitive or something like that. Or just completely incompatible, pretty much, with sensitivity of the Sega Saturn compared to things like Nintendo Switch or PC. So this is basically the game. You just do like little like off-road style races in a couple different cars. There's 3 different tracks at normal. There might be some unlockables once again. Just do 3 laps each, racing against other people, track your times. It doesn't seem like much in a world that we live in today where, like, you know, we have Gran Turismo and all that. I think this came out shortly before the first Gran Turismo. It was on the PlayStation, of course. I think that probably blew this one out of the water, pretty much. But this game is really cool. I like how it's a little bit more arcadey than your Gran Turismo, because it kind of reminds me of like Cruising USA a little bit. Not quite that arcadey, but it has that fun sense to it. It kind of reminds me of the game Super Hang-On a little bit too, or like Outrun, which were on the Sega Genesis consoles. Those were fun racing games back before this one. But yeah, it's really cool. Even comparing this to like Cruising USA, at least the first one, Cruising USA, on N64, which came out maybe like 2 years later, maybe even 3 years later. This game looks like the 3D effects and the 3D graphics are superior. It's fully 3D looking, except for maybe the trees. The track is fully 3D and like the loop around it and stuff, whereas on Cruising, it's just like a straightforward race. It looks more two-dimensional. The music is great in this. It sounds like a real band because, with real instruments, because it's on CD, Sega Saturn. And, you know, the N64 was not. I don't know if that helicopter is. It's pretty cool. It's just like filming the race or something. That's awesome. There's lots of little like features in here that they didn't need to put in this game, like the people, the Sega signs, the buildings, the helicopter, the animals in the background and stuff. They didn't need to put that in the racing game, but they did, and it looks really great visually. It's a fun game that still holds up fun in that arcade style. Like if you go to arcades and you want to play an old racing game, sure, it's not going to compare with games today, but you can still have fun with it. This kind of feels like those like arcade racing games. Which is why I wanted to use this wheel so I could play it like a, you know, like a Cruising or something like that. Let me go back on the track. But didn't work right, so we're stuck with the original controls, which actually are not bad, even with a D-pad. It's not bad in this game, even though it's a 3D racer, using your D-pad. Not bad at all. And if you like pay attention to the sound a little bit, they'll tell you when those little arrow indicators come up, like how much you're supposed to be going left, or how much you're going right. Like this is strong right, usually it's a medium left, and stuff like that. So it'll tell you how much the upcoming turns are going to be. Here's a strong one, I think. The other one might have been, this is a hard one. I messed up a little bit on that right. You also got the brake, which I haven't really using brake at all. You probably want to use brake on this level. Not quite as much as like your like in Ridge Racer, but yeah. So the controls are not really comparable to Ridge Racer. I'd say they're more like a Gran Turismo or like maybe an arcadey version of Gran Turismo, if you know what I mean. Like, take Gran Turismo and then like kind of make it more like cruising. Somewhere in between those two is where I'd say the controls feel like in this game. The way it plays is kind of like that. It's not like so much like Ridge Racer. Apparently, with other racing games I've played that are around this time period, that in the 90s that compare to this, I'm not really making up much. I think it's the 4 Need for Speed and stuff like that, which I haven't played those very much either. But it's definitely different than your Ridge Racer. So if you're expecting it like Ridge Racer, it's not really like that. A little bit similar, but not really, with the drifting of Ridge Racer. Yeah, fun game, nice looking graphics for the Saturn, rockin' soundtrack, which you can customize what tracks play on which level, so you can kind of change it up a little bit. Not a lot of selection on the vehicles, only 2, and then you can change your transmission to auto or manual. There's a couple settings you can do for the car, well, more than a couple, but yeah, it's pretty cool. It's kind of basic, but it's kind of like, I believe it's one of the first of its kind, so you got to give us a lot of credit for that. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool game. I recommend getting this if you have a Saturn and you want a cool racing game in your Saturn library. I gotta focus here because we're running low on time. You got time and the other racers, which you gotta beat. Both, of course. So if I run out of time for the checkpoint, then we don't get to complete the race. We gotta do 3 laps. Back on the road, Kevin. Okay, there's a second checkpoint. I thought there was only 1 checkpoint per race track, but maybe not. There could be shortcuts. I don't think there's shortcuts in this game. I love games with shortcuts. I'm cruising at a few of those. I don't think this one does, as far as I've checked out so far. Go faster! Jumping! Big bumping! Talk about drink a bunch of Monster during this video, so yeah, I'm a little hyped. Can't wait to go back and play some more Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. It's always on my mind. It's been on my mind since the game came out, but you can tell when I uploaded this video, but or created this video, but yeah, so still doing Famicom Fridays, even though I'm super excited about Tears of the Kingdom. Still, we're almost at the end of this race track. Hey, we did pretty good on that lap. Nice. Minster at 7th place. I didn't know what he was saying. There was something he was saying on the soundtrack there. Now this is the last level. There's 3 levels. There could be more. This is the last level. So we're going to try to do this as best as we can. I don't remember this level. Actually, I don't know if I've ever played this level, aside from on free play. I don't think I ever made it this far on my own, on championship mode. So here we go. We got to really focus on this one. There's not a whole lot of off-road on this one, or like side road. A lot of walls, it looks like. Kind of crazy. Weird because the opponents have other cars than you do, so I wonder if you can actually unlock cars. You only have 2 cars in this game. Drifting around that corner. Check. I don't really like this level as much. I know it's the hard level, so it's supposed to be harder than the other 2. I just don't like it. I like the medium level a lot. If there was more medium levels, that'd be great. There's only 1 for each difficulty, as far as I know. Easy level was okay. It was okay. Medium level is fun. I like that level where you're going through the mountains. This one, I don't really like. Visually, it's okay. I don't like how... I'm not liking so much the walls all on the track. They're not throughout the whole track, but I don't like the walls. I know it kind of helps you stay on track a little bit more, but I don't know. It's kind of cool. This part's kind of cool. We're going up the mountains. The mountain's trying to load in. Do you see that poppin'? If people think poppin's bad today, well, check out poppin' on the Sega Saturn. which is not that bad. You can excuse it because it's like, it's, you know, it's doing the first thing of its kind, pretty much. I don't know if this is actually the first like 3D racing game on a home console, but it's one of the first few, you know. Gotta be, right? This is gonna be hard. I gotta really do good. Make it through the end of this racetrack. Music is once again pretty cool too. You can actually customize and put like any song, once again, like any level. You know, I bumped the wall. Now your car doesn't seem like it takes damage from this at all, which is good for me because I would probably my car be destroyed if this was any other game. It's crazy to think how like racing games evolved from like pole position to like Rad Racer. I've done Rad Racer videos before. To like, you know, like your Super Nintendo Top Gear, which I think was also on the Sega. There might have been a shortcut back there. Oh no. Get back on the track, get back on the track, go, 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 go. So all the way to this next generation, which is the Sega Saturn, with games like Sega Rally, and also Daytona USA, which I played Daytona USA. I had it on a computer when I was a kid. Like I had like the Sega CD computer version. But I've never played on the Saturn. That's a game I gotta pick up for the Saturn, is Daytona USA. So maybe in the future we'll pick up Daytona USA. I don't know if we'll get the English or the Japanese version, but hopefully get it soon. Go, 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 go. Should be able to make it if I keep going. Okay, we made it. Finish! Nice. 3 seconds left on the timer too. Hey, 6! That's better than the last race. Somehow I did better. Just by a little bit. Oh, cool. I have not seen this yet. Oh, it's cool. The car rotates. That's nice. That's a nice looking enter your initials screen. I normally do my Happy Bird games, but this is like my actual initials. So if you ever see this on a game, that's me. You can see that on like one of my videos or something. That's just my actual initials. Usually I do Happy Bird games. I'm on an arcade or something. So I have 2 sets I could do. There's not much else to do. There's arcade, which we checked out. You can do like a free or play version, or you can do the championship that we did. There's time attack. You can do an actual time trial, or you can do a free play, and then you can also do car settings for your custom car settings. There's a 2-player mode in case you want to race against someone on split screen, and there's also one other mode, which is you can check out. I believe you can do replays. I think you can do replays. I don't know if you can do it on this or just right after you do a race. You can check out your stats as well. So yeah, I haven't really got any scores on this game yet. And then there's options, which just real quick, by the way, even with this controller, steering wheel controller, I was using Type A controls. I just had them custom set, macroed on the controller itself. Alright everybody, that's it for today's Famicom Friday. We checked out the game Sega Rally Championship 1995 for the Japanese region Sega Saturn. We've got the Japanese region disc here, got the game on there. It was a lot of fun. We tried it with this Mario Kart controller for the Nintendo Switch and PC, and it did not work very well. It didn't work the way I wanted it to, but luckily enough, it did actually connect and control on the Sega Saturn with the Brook Wingman controller adapter SD for Sega Dreamcast and Sega Saturn. So that's cool that that works, but it also isn't cool that the steering was too sensitive for me to really play. So then we switched over to this controller and it was a lot of fun. We completed the championship mode and it was a blast. Alright everybody, thanks for watching once again. Please stay tuned for more Famicom Fridays in the near future on Happy Bird Games. And if you liked today's video, please be sure to subscribe, leave it a like, share with your friends, leave a comment, and check out my other links on my Linktree page. Alright everybody, thanks for watching once again. Bye!